joining us to go through the AXeptance tool. We have a couple of interesting things that we'd like to show you this afternoon to address an issue that we know that most of the AX customers out there are wrestling with, specifically how to adequately test their system and how to do it in a way that they don't take a lot of the time of their business people. So with that, I'd like to get started. Just a few housekeeping things as we go through. Everyone is welcome to use the chat box to enter questions, and we'll take those at the end, as well as this session is being recorded, so I just wanted to let everyone know that. So with that, we'll go to the next slide. I'm going to first introduce the team that's going to be on the call today. Myself, I'm Pat McGrath. I'm Director of Marketing with BWIR. And I'm going to be your moderator for today's session. Alfonso Dinicio is going to talk to us just a little bit later to talk to the Rodl Dynamics organization. And our star for the day is Marcel Miller. He's the architect for the solution that you're going to be seeing. So he'll be taking us through the demos and showing you the capabilities of the tool. But before we get into that, I want to just talk to you about why the tool was designed. There were a number of challenges specific to the AX environment from a business perspective. We're going to cover those as well as the highlights of the tools as well as the features and advantage. And the demo, as I said, will be done by Marcel. We're going to do that in two ways, both from an IT perspective and from a business perspective. And then we'll come back and talk about the two companies that are presenting this and sponsoring this session today. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll take the questions at the end. So with that, we want to first look at the business needs from an acceptance perspective and what's being addressed by this tool. So there are a number of value propositions when you look at a testing tool like AXeptance, specifically helping to reduce downtime by ensuring that when you do your testing that it's adequate, as well as ensuring that you're testing for performance bottlenecks when you have those log-on storms early in the morning to make sure that your system is going to be able to handle the load. Ensuring quality issues and regression testing is complete, and very important is the ability to ensure that you're compliant from an audit capability perspective, and so this testing tool is very focused on ensuring that. So with that, as I mentioned before, the two teams here, Rodl and Barry-Wehmiller International Resources, have teamed up to bring you the tool. As a part of this, we wanted to kind of get an idea of where the problem areas rely and what's most important from a testing perspective. And this is a survey that we conducted to show that minimizing production time, which is probably no big surprise, is so important to any time you're talking about testing a system for uptime, as well as the ability to ensure you're getting the results that you would expect out of your system. The second most important is being compliant with regulations at auditability. So you'll see in the tool that it creates a log that you can refer to, as well as the ability to document the testing that's been done for your system. So looking at it from a customer perspective specifically, though, there are some real issues. The tests that you run, the quality of those tests, ensuring that the business users are able to test their function and are available to you during those off hours and testing times, as well as just reducing the time. Anytime you can automate something, you're going to reduce time. You're also going to reduce the amount of human errors that are going to occur through automation of your testing process. We talked a little bit about system performance, but you'll see that in today's demo in one of the examples that we show. And as I said before, testing from regression to functional tests and everything in between is afforded by the capability and the different functions that you can turn on and off to do performance and load testing. First of all, we want to just do this graphic, show you all of the pieces that are touched through this tool. Those that I just mentioned before: system test, performance test, functional test, regression, integration, etc. The other important thing to know here is that this tool is seamlessly integrated into AX, so you don't have to leave your system to do your testing. It's very easy to record test scripts that can be used for future use, as well as to allow for realistic test and test data variations using those functional recordings. And finally, as I said, there's a detailed test log that shows where errors have occurred, what has been tested, and gives you a mechanism to refer back in an audit situation or in an IT help desk situation. Next, I'd like to go into the demo, and Marcel's going to be our master of ceremonies for the demo. And with that, he will actually take us through the tool in two variations. First of all, the day in the life of a systems engineer. Paul, our systems engineer, has received a trouble ticket indicating that there's a lockout situation. And it's not happening to a single user, it's happening to multiples. So we need to go in and figure out what is causing that condition and resolve it. So what he's going to do is actually launch the testing tool and show you how to investigate that, determining what the problem is, and then ultimately how to resolve the problem. So we're going to pick it up with our systems engineer, Paul, played by Marcel, in the middle of launching 4 user sessions so that he can recreate the failures that has occurred. So with that, Marcel, if you can take us through the demo.
Here it comes. Then the packing slip. And finally, the invoice. And there I see there appears an error message. So the test script should be finished now. I can look in the test control center and I see no test script is running anymore. So if we go back here, I can take a look at the error message and I see there was an update conflict in the cast invoice sure table. So I can now start to investigate sorry, in what part of the code the cast invoice sure is written, and then I can continue to find the error. So my small test is finished. Then I go back to the terminal control center to shut down my test environment. So all terminal client sessions are closed. Then I stop the server communication and I close the terminal control center. Now we can go and to look at the test log of this test script. I have written the test log to a file, so I have to import the data from the file. And there I see already that the status of this test is failed. And if we go down, it was almost at the end when I posted the invoice. And here I see the info log text with the cast invoice sure, the error message. And I see it happened up after the test step number 40 in our test script. So I can look into the test steps of our test script, and there I see the test step number 40 is here where I print the invoice. So that was a short test as Paul to find out what could be the reason of blocking locking situations reported by the user. Then I
thank
hit.
you, Marcel. Yeah. So, Marcel, we do have one question. I thought I'd go ahead and take it now. It's from Thomas, and he wanted to know if there's any limit to the number of test users that you can open.
There is, AXeptance has no limit of test users. The limitation is given by Dynamics AX, how many users are there licensed, and the number and the amount of users the terminal servers can handle. So you can run the sessions on multiple terminal servers at the same time, and the number is unlimited.
Okay, great. Thank you, Marcel. Thomas, does that answer your question? Okay, you may have us on mute. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so so we've seen one aspect of the test script. Now, what we'd like to present, other than the IT testing capability, we'd like to show it from a business perspective and really highlight the value that it brings. So, if we can look at this next scenario. We're working with Joan, who is actually a salesperson that's using AX to enter the sales orders. And we're going to show how the tool allows us to capture and create a comprehensive scenario of what she does in her department, and then how that ultimately creates the test script that we use for future testing. So, Marcel, if you can take it away.
Yes, thank you, Beth. So now I'm acting as John, and I have the task to record a test script for a standard sales order that will be used in the IT department for test purposes. So first I have to start the test script recorder. It's a small form where I enter the name of my test script, and I name it Sales Order Standard. And by clicking the red button, the recording process starts. That means everything what I click now with the mouse or what I enter into the keyboard will be recorded in this test script. So I go to my accounts receivable, to the sales orders, and I open the sales orders form. Then I create a new sales order. I choose a customer. Then I select the first item. So I open a lookup and I enter an item number. For example, the 1070, which is a speaker set 1. Then I go to the next line, select another item, and in the last line, the third item. Then I go into the Cell tab page and print the sales order confirmation. So everything is set correctly. If not, then I can check the boxes that I would like, and I click the OK button. I want to print on the screen. And here comes the sales order confirmation. So I close the report window, switch over to Pick and Pack to print the sales packing slip. Also everything set correctly, so I only need to click the OK button. And finally I switch to the Invoice tab page to post and print the sales invoice. And here is the invoice. Then I go back to the sales order, to the header view, and there is the sales order status, which is now invoiced. And when I run the test script, then the test script should check whether this status is invoiced or not. So I click into this field and I press Ctrl L on my keyboard, which makes a small menu appear, and I select here the check value. With check value, I can set an expected value for any control or button in this form. And when the test script runs, then it checks whether the expected value is there or not. If the value is not there, then it will populate an error. And if the value is there, then the test step is passed. So we have here the whole structure of the form where I can select a field or button, whatever I would like. And here I can select now what is my expected value, and the expected value is invoiced. And finally, I would like to store the sales order number into a variable, and this variable content value can be used in other test scripts. So first I can create a sales order with a sales order number, and then I can make another test script where I use the sales order number for further process. So I press also Ctrl L on my keyboard, select the set to value, and specify a variable name, in this case SO number for sales order number, and I click OK. So now my test script is recorded completely, so I can close the sales order form. I stop the recording process. I can close the test script recorder window, and then I go and open our test control center, what we know already from Paul. And there is now my sales order standard. I can assign some parameters to this test script, for example, organization or an area, and I can enter a search name if I would like to do this. But now we go to the test steps to see what has been recorded. And there we see all the activities that I did with my mouse and my keyboard. Here, for example, I did select the vendor, and here we have the first item. It was the 1070. And in the test steps, we have the possibility to randomize our values, so that I not always test with this item number. I can test with a random item number. And I can do this either by a value list, where I can select a range of items, or by a filter. It's a standard dynamics X filter, and so I say I would like to have 1070 to 1079, for example. So it should take an item out of this range. The same I do with the second item. Here I say 1080 to 1089. Also random from filter. And here is the third item from 1090 to 1099. Also random from filter. The next point what we can do with a test script is we can create loops. Loops mean that a set of test steps will be executed several times. So we have here our 3 sales order lines, and I mark now the second sales order line area and click on top on this create loop button, and there I can give a name for this loop, SO line, and I would like to run this loop 3 times. So we have here the loop start around the second sales order line, and here the loop stop. Then additionally we can create timers. The timer is used to measure the time for executing test steps. For example, when I post the invoice, then here was the OK button that I have clicked, and here the report window appeared. So I mark these 2 lines and I create a timer here. I name it SO invoice for sales order invoice, and then we have here in this test step where I click OK is the start time, and when the report windows appears, I have the end time. Now my test script is complete, so I go back to the test script. I check my user session to execute the test script and to log the test result, and then by clicking the start button, my sales order that I have just recorded will start to run. So it takes my customer, then it will create 5 sales order lines. I have recorded 3 sales order lines, but the second sales order line will now loop 3 times. Every time with a random item number. Then I print the sales order confirmation. You just see flicker up at a short time because it's closed immediately after appearing, then the packing slip, and finally the invoice where we measure the time. We check the status, we store the sales order number, close the form, and then we go back to the test control center. Let's look at the log. So we see already on top that the test script did run successfully. And in the lower section we see the different test steps. First here on the left bottom corner you see we took the customer, then our first item, second item, third item, fourth item, fifth item. Here's the fifth. And if we go more down, we see also the dialog buttons with the yes/no box. And if we go more down, we see the check value where expected was invoiced, the result was invoiced, so the status is passed, and where we store the variable to the SO number, and this was the sales order number that we have been created. So that was a short round trip, how easy it is to create for a key user without any programming to create a test script, and I can deliver now this test script to the IT team for testing. So Pat? So Pat, I'm finished.
Sorry about that, Marcel. As everyone can probably see, it's an awfully powerful tool. The fact that right from AX, right from the user's desktop, you have access to start recording the user's interaction with the system. The other thing that I want to highlight is the ability to not only record a test script, but then take that script and modify it, run the entire script, run the partial script, etc. So as you look at the power of this tool, certainly the true power comes from being able to have complete and variable testing from a business function perspective, and the ability to repeat that and or create new scripts. So thank you, Marcel, for sharing that with us. And then, kind of going back to the IT demo that we did in that scenario, being able to use the tool to determine and resolve where problems are happening on a regular help desk kind of a role, but from the standpoint of upgrades and integration tests, regression tests, performance, etc. The tool also allows you to do testing in all of those areas on an ongoing basis. Marcel, next slide. So looking at it from a benefits perspective, certainly we all could use more time. So the ability to reduce the testing time while also ensuring that the system is adequately tested so that you're not causing any downtime for the users or the system that you're testing. and certainly improving the quality of the testing, the ability to capture what the user is doing and use that repeatedly. Having that auditability function that I know for so many of us is so very important. And again, always focused on saving time and saving money, while at the same time, back to the tool acceptance, improving the test results. So what are the implementation considerations? We just wanted to go over that just very quickly. And what are the options? Basically, we look at it from the standpoint of what your requirements are, the basic license versus enterprise or corporate. It's something that we'd be happy to discuss. Alfonso, who's on the phone and is going to be talking to us here in a minute, can talk this over with you and determine what is most appropriate based on the size of your company and your needs. There's also, I believe, a trial program that we can talk about in conjunction with this. It's important, as you all know, anytime you deploy anything, to have a proven methodology, which is part of what we do with the tool, as well as the training necessary to get you up live, get those test scripts created, etc. The setup requirements, and I know that we did have a question from Thomas on the software that it supports. So Thomas, I think you can see here that that question is being addressed. And then we have another question out there which we'll come to in a bit, but this is something that, again, Alfonso can work with you to make sure that the system is going to be supported. But for those of you that are online, I'm sure that that's obvious here. Marcel, next slide. So from a case study perspective, we just wanted to share with you some other customer experiences and the success that they realized from using the testing tool. We have different customer segments, so you can really see that what's most important is that it's supporting the AX environment regardless of the industry that you're in. We work with you from an implementation standpoint, and ultimately what it's all about is the column on the right. What is the value? What is the ROI? How much time are you saving? So these are actual customer experiences you're seeing here, and what they valued from their perspective relative to the deployment of this tool, and what they actually realized as a result of deploying this tool. Marcel, next slide. So we wanted to include in this one of the quotes from one of our customers. And again, you can see reduce the test effort from the ongoing development. It was comprehensive. It was reliable, very beneficial. The audits, I can't stress enough how important that is and how important it is relative to the tool and what it provides for you. So this is just one example, one quote from one of our users, and just to validate that what we're demonstrating today is what our customers are actually realizing. So, the next piece is to introduce our team and what we bring relative to the skills in helping you realize this. So we'll start with BWIR. We are an international company, and we focus on the ERP systems, the selection, deployment, implementation, etc., and the additional add-on products and products like AXeptance that really help you run the environment once you've installed it, as well as putting in place a very structured test environment that you can depend on. And you can see just some of the offices that we have, and we'd be happy to have additional discussions with you based on this tool and others. We want to talk just briefly about our approach on the next slide, and how we support our customers. But very simply, we come in, we look at the situation, i.e. the same portion, right? We need to understand what you're trying to accomplish from a business perspective, from an IT perspective, etc. Building that solution, and then offering the ongoing management. So again, a set of methodologies, certified project managers, etc. And not only from the standpoint of this tool and ERP, but also some of the disciplines that are relative to the industry that the ERP systems serve. And then the ongoing support, whether it be hosting, maintenance, etc. So that's just a little bit about our company. I just want to briefly mention our approach in the next slide. What we're bringing, in addition to the technology expertise, is the expertise relative to the type of industry that you're in, and the IT assets that you would be needing to support your business, and a number of the other add-ons that are relevant. So any and all of those we'd be happy to discuss when and if it's appropriate. But today, of course, it's about testing, and that's where we want to stay focused. And looking at it from the standpoint of what are the intangibles, but it's always about ROI. How quickly can we install this tool? What is the cost of the tool, and what are we receiving back? So we make sure that that is the foremost and most focused on aspect of what we do always, and putting together a methodology that's adaptable. And as you know, we are, in fact, a Microsoft partner, so making sure that, we bring to the table the talent and the certification that gives you the confidence to know that we're the partners to support you. Next, I would like to ask Alfonso to introduce Rodl. Alfonso, let me unmute you here, and we'll go from there. See here. All right, there you go.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much to all of you for your interest. Rodl & Partner is active at about 91 wholly owned locations in about 40 countries. Our integrated firm for audit, legal, management, and tax consulting owes its dynamic success to over 3,000 entrepreneurial-minded partners and colleagues. In close collaboration with our clients, we develop information for well-founded economic, tax, legal, and IT decisions that we implement together both nationally and internationally. Internationally, we are very happy to have a partner like Barry-Wehmiller in the United States. Next slide, please. Okay. The slide before again, yeah, our corporate and IT consultancy consists of 5 areas. The Rodl Dynamics company has about 100 employees and is 100% focused on Dynamics AX. Now the next slide. Okay, thank you. We provide technical solutions like hosting in one of our 3 data centers in Germany, as well as business solutions like Dynamics AX, like Microsoft CRM, like SAP, and so on. You are welcome to get in contact with us in Germany. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfonso. So I just wanted to open up the lines here, and while I'm doing that, I would just say that we in fact have a question that we can start with. So Marcel, that question is coming from Daniel, and he would like to understand from the perspective of this tool how it's different from other management platforms and tools available using HP as the example.
Yeah, the difference to other tools is that we are completely inside Dynamics AX. So AXeptance is developed in Dynamics AX, and so we have access to the database, to the fields, to all controls, to all elements inside there. What we also use in the test script, so I could show only a small picture what we can do, but for example we can add X++ code to test steps, formulas to test steps, and act completely inside Dynamics AX without any bitmap imaging or network protocol hooking or something like this. That is the main difference.
All right, thank you, Marcel. And as I said, I have opened up the mic, so are there any additional questions out there for Marcel or myself relative to the tool and the capabilities either from a business or an IT perspective? All right, then. So I just want to thank everyone that's attended today. We will follow up with contact information for the team. Marcel, I think we have a slide, actually, if you could go to the next slide. So if you'd like to take advantage of the trial, we'd be happy to do that, as well as any script development and execution training. We'd be happy to talk to you about that. So please reach out to myself. My phone number and email are here. And as I said, we did record this session, and we'll be happy to share any and all information and or set up telephone conversations to address your specific needs and or specific environment. So I just want to say thank you to the presenters and everyone that gave us a bit of their very valuable time to attend the session today. I hope you found it informative, and we look forward to any feedback that you have, either for myself or the team. So thank you all for attending, and have a great rest of your day.